at the speed reload on a Kalashnikov. Basically, it's one of the hardest things to do with this platform. Now, this weapon system is not just like an AR or some other weapons out there where you press a button and the mag falls out and you insert it into a well. There's no well on this gun. So basically what we have to do is a certain cant to the hand as we reload it. So I've got 2 empty magazines here. I'm just going to talk through these. Okay, with a dry gun. Now, the first reload that you're going to see with the AK-47 is a strip reload because people just think it's the easiest way to do it. Well, it's only easy because you make it easy. So here we go. What the process is with the AK-47 is when you do a strip reload, they basically just get rid of the magazine first by taking the thumb, putting it behind the magazine release button, and sweeping it out and getting it out of the way. Then reaching for another magazine, rocking, inserting, and then charging the gun. Okay, so that's one method that you can do. Now you could do this with either hand. You could come in and strip it with the left hand, or if you're a right side charger, which I'll talk about here in a second, you could strip it from the right side, and if you insert magazines with the right hand, maybe you're cross dominance with your handgun and your carbine and you keep your mags on your right side, but your right rifle shooting shoulder. So you insert, you charge, and you fire. So again, that process for the strip reload is very simple. When I get a click, this is what I'm looking for. The AK-47 does not typically lock back to the rear, so I'm looking for the click. That is the alarm. If I know I've fired 30 rounds in a fight, I'm going to get rid of the magazine, insert. Notice the knuckles on the forearm of the AK. They're indexing the forearm and then rocking in, because you got to be careful. If you don't index it correctly, sometimes you'll get it locked into the gun improperly, and you can actually stick the magazines in there pretty good. So we want to index efficiently and consistently every time, rock it in. Now let's talk about charging considerations. How do we charge the gun? Well, there's a couple different ways. Traditionally, we can charge underneath, okay? We could charge over the top, or we can charge with the fire control hand. So let's talk about those 3 really quick. A lot of people say never take your hand off fire control. Well, okay. Your gun is out of battery though. Say it's out of battery means it's not shooting. I've got to reload it, charge it, my hand comes back to the fire control pretty quickly. Almost as quick as I can charge it underneath and get back to the gun and then fire. So if you put it under a timer, coming from the right side if you did it efficiently, underneath if you did it efficiently, or over the top if you did it efficiently, by the time you got back up on target and fired would be about the same time. So it is a personal preference, but I will tell you that in most positions, most of the time, underneath the gun is going to work better. It's going to have more inertia into the gun. You can see the gun is in your workspace. You can manipulate. Your hand is right here, coming underneath, back on the target. If you're on the move, this is where you're really going to see it come into play. It's being able to rack the gun on the move from this location. You try to rack the gun from here or coming over the top, it's kind of awkward. Other charging considerations, different environments. What if I'm laying on my back, I slipped and fell, and I'm right here, and I had a misfire or something? I can come over the top, there's nothing wrong with that. The gun's staying on target. Why would I rotate the gun, charge it, and then lay it back down? So if you can be efficient, there may be a disruptive environment where you may have to do that. So never be absolute to how you charge or even load an AK. So let's talk about the next method. All right, let's talk about the sweep magazine reload. This is kind of a traditional manual of arms for the AK, where you grab that next source of ammo, whether it's coming from your side or into a vest, and you're sweeping that magazine, engaging the magazine release, which throws that magazine out of the mag well. Then I come back, index knuckles, rock it, and then charge it appropriately, and then get back into the fight, okay? So again, it's using the magazine. Here's what it looks like. Okay, so here's the issues with this type of reload that I see. Sometimes people will miss, they'll hit the magazine, then they'll have to hit it again, and they'll find themselves bumbling the reload trying to hit that little button with something else besides their finger, which they could actually feel. The other problem I see is if you do this hundreds and hundreds or thousands and thousands of times, which you should if you're out there dry practicing or out there shooting, or military magazines, I've seen specifically on metal magazines, these get deformed from doing that. You are hitting this mag pretty quick. I mean, you're using a lot of force on this gun. So you're hitting it so hard, I've seen deformation of the magazines, and where followers will sometimes stick over time when they get old, and next thing you know, you've got a malfunctioning gun. So that's the last thing you want. But it is a very fast, it's an effective reload, just make sure you can be consistent at it. All right, let's talk about the thumb reload. This is the one that I prefer to do because it's a little bit more efficient. If you notice on the mag sweep, my hand's out here, and then I've got to bring it back. What I do is kind of consistent to that tack reload. I use my thumb on my control hand. When I bring this magazine up, I'm using my thumb as if it was the mag in that mag sweep. Using the thumb, sweeping, and look where the mag was. It was still right there in this workspace of the mag well. So it goes right in. So thumb, insert, charge it properly. So here's what it looks like again. You can see that the mag in my hand isn't going all the way forward and then coming back. It's thumbing and in. So that's what I call a little bit more efficient, a little bit less excessive or waste movement. Now let's talk about the reverse mag reload. This is if you keep your mags, bullets forward, or they're opposite in your chest rig or your plate carrier. Okay, what this basically is where I reach down and grab a hold of the mag backwards. Now I don't want to index like a handgun mag on an AK, because it's a little bit difficult to rock it in, obviously, like this with this motion. Or if you get the bottom of the mag, you'll see a lot of people come out of a vest and they'll try to load like this. Look how flimsy that reload is. You've got no control on it. So be careful with bobbling reloads like that from vest or something. So make sure your vest allows you to get behind that mag and pull it out the way you want to pull it out. So again, we're inserting not backwards, but just turning them around. So this is kind of a funny reload to get used to. Basically, all I'm doing is reaching down and kind of grabbing, like putting my hands on my hips is pretty much all it is. So putting the hands on the hips, bringing the magazine up to the gun, and sweeping, okay? Sweeping forward with that sweep reload. Inserting, and look where my hand is here. This is why a lot of people like to use this. Their hand slides right up behind the gun and charges right back on the forearm, then they can engage. So it's kind of a nice reload if you can do it appropriately. Okay. A little bit awkward with your hand turned around there, which is why I'll typically prefer that thumb reload. Okay, because I'm in control. It's consistent to my tack reload, so I'm doing not just 1,000 repetitions of speed reload with my thumb engaging, but also in my tack reload, my thumb is engaging. So it's consistency for me, that's my personal preference. Now the last reload is what I call the bolt hold open reload, or what people are starting to refer to as the Iraqi reload. Basically what that is when you fire and you get that click, we're holding the bolt to the rear, and now you have an option. You can strip the magazine, you can sweep the magazine, or you can thumb the magazine. So all those techniques come into play with this Iraqi reload. So I insert, release, round goes in the chamber as I released, and it's a little bit easier, a little bit faster, but the problem is, try to do that on the move. Try to hold a gun like this and now run and try to reload the gun. So if you're gonna do this, try practicing when you get that click to reach up and pull it into your workspace. So I can hold the gun kind of like this. You can see my thumb over the top, I'm controlling the weapon system and also the charging handle. So now when I come up and thumb reload, I can let go, and I can do that on the move because I had leverage points now. I had a workspace for me. I was just holding the top of the gun instead of the fire control grip. So that's a consideration you can take with the hold open or the bolt hold open reload on the AK. Okay, if you're a left-hander, same exact manipulation. You could do the strip, you could do the mag sweep, you could do the thumb reload. It's just coming from the opposite side. The only consideration you have is the charging handle. How are you going to charge a gun? Well, basically, you can come up with the palm of your hand and charge it. You can come over with the hook and charge it. So there's a couple different ways you can do there, whatever works best for you. But again, it's the same exact thing. So if I grab a mag, I can still do the thumb, I can still do the sweep, and I can still strip it first. Same thing, just charging here. So it's actually a little bit more efficient for a lefty. Okay, the only thing, again, you got to remember is the safety considerations. When and how are you going to put that on? So that's with the left-hander. Now I'm going to actually go ahead and demonstrate them live. The first one I'm going to do is a strip. All right, so I've set the gun up with an empty magazine in the gun and one round in the chamber to simulate these, because what I want to get is a report and then the click. The click is the alarm for me to go into the reload process. Okay, however, I have my mags, whether they're on my belt or in a chest rig, all the things apply. So here we go with the strip reload. Okay, so that's a strip. Now, let me set back up. All right, now I'm going to set up for the thumb reload. All right, now let's try the reverse reload. So again, I'm going to turn my bullets to the front. I'm going to reach down just so I can put my hands on my hip for this reload. All right, you can see a little bobble there, but it's still pretty efficient. However, awkward at the same time, okay? All right, now I'm gonna set up for the bolt hold open reload, okay? I'll do it once in the shoulder, and then I'll do it in the workspace. Okay, now let's try it in a workspace. Okay, so those are your basic reloads there.